Hello everyone, I'm Justin Porter, and it's sundown on the 27th of March 2021. And on this day, 3,000 years ago, the ancient Egyptians would eat cornbread and beer. Cornbread, they'd eat the cornbread representing the body of Osiris, the resurrection sun god, and they would drink beer representing the blood of Osiris, the Egyptian resurrection sun god. So the Egyptians had a trinity, Isis, Horus, and Osiris. And it was a trinity, Egyptian trinity, and Osiris was the sun god, the resurrection god. And Osiris rose from the dead on the third day, and the Egyptians would bring out his statue on the third day and eat cornbread representing the body of Osiris, and beer representing the blood of Osiris. He was the Egyptian resurrection god. He had 12 disciples, Osiris. Osiris was born of a virgin. Now, on this day, at sundown, 27th of March, 2021, 2,500 years ago, the Romans would eat bread and wine. The bread would be representing the body of Mithra, the Roman resurrection sun god. Now, Mithra was a Roman resurrection god-man who rose from the dead on the third day. They have statues of Mithra, and Mithra was a long-haired man. It looks a lot like the statues of Jesus, but Mithra was clean-shaven, he had long hair, and he had a Smurf hat on. And if you go to Rome under St. Peter's Basilica, there is statues of Mithra, the Roman resurrection god, the sun god. And on this day, about 2,500 years ago, they would do that. And they'd bring his statue out and eat bread and wine, representing the body of Mithra and the blood of Mithra, resurrection of the dead. And then on this day, 1,987 years ago, Christians in Israel would pass red wine around representing the blood of Jesus Christ, and unleavened bread representing the body of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was the Son of God. He rose on the third day, according to Christians, and opened the way to everlasting life for the dying human race. Now, the Egyptians, the Romans, and the Jews all had their resurrection god, who basically rose on the third day, and they would eat bread and wine representing his body and his blood. As I said, Jesus on this night passed bread and wine around his disciples 1,987 years ago, in 33 AD. So Jehovah's Witnesses around the world, I'm a ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, Jehovah's Witnesses around the world pass the bread and wine around on this night at sundown, but they do not partake of the bread and the wine, but only the governing body who live in New York City. These 8 men in New York City are the faithful and discreet slave, and only they will go to heaven with 144,000 other men and women. Now, these other 1,044,000 men and women who will be going to heaven are men and women who have died throughout the ages since 1,987 years ago, when Jesus rose from the dead. Now, the governing body tell Jehovah's Witnesses not to partake of the bread and wine, because if you're not spirit anointed, because in the Bible it says the Spirit bears witness with our spirit that we're anointed. And I was watching the latest JW broadcast with Stephen Lett, and Stephen Lett was saying that if you're not spirit anointed, the Spirit will bear witness with your spirit that you're spirit anointed. If you have any doubts about being spirit anointed, or any question if you are spirit anointed, well, you're not spirit anointed. You know for a fact that you're spirit anointed. And there was a Watchtower a few years ago that says, how come so many people partake of the bread and the wine at the memorial? And the Watchtower said a lot of people are mentally unbalanced who take the bread and the wine at the memorial. They think they're going to heaven, but they're really not. They're going to live on a paradise earth. Now, does the 8 governing body members, we have Kenneth Cook, Samuel Hurd, Gerard Loesch, David Splane, Mark Sanderson, Jeffrey Jackson, Tony Morris, and Stephen Lett of the governing body, are they the faithful and discreet slave that Jesus chose to give the domestics their food at the proper time? Why are they all white guys? How come the 8 governing body members are all white guys, except for Samuel Hurd, and he's not really black? And of course, how come they're all American? You ever wondered why these 8 guys in New York City, they're all American, except for Jeffrey Jackson, who's Australian. And I think Gerard Loesch, he has a bit of an accent. He comes somewhere in Europe or something, I'm not too sure. Leave in the comments where Gerard Loesch. So are they the faithful and discreet slave that Jesus talked about? That are going to heaven, that are going to look down on you from heaven and be a government over you with Jesus for 1,000 years? Are they the faithful and discreet slave, or are they the faithful and discreet fraud? Think of it. Next time you see a Stephen Lett JW broadcast, or a Tony Morris, or a Kenneth Cook, or Samuel Hurd, or Gerard Loesch, or David Splane, or Mark Sanderson, or Jeffrey Jackson JW broadcast, just think of it. How come they know that they're spirit anointed? Are they mentally unbalanced? Think of it. Now, if you were to eat the bread and wine tonight at the memorial, you would probably be pulled into the back room by the elders and saying, how come you're eating the bread and wine? You're not a pioneer. You didn't even get your hours in this month. You're not a ministerial servant. You're not an elder. You're just a lowly, good-for-nothing slave, because in the Bible it says that we did what we had to do. We're just good-for-nothing slaves. And the Watchtower teaches Jehovah's Witnesses they're good-for-nothing slaves. And only the governing body in New York City, those 8 men, are the faithful and discreet slave. So, what is it? You know, think about it. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, and all Jehovah's Witnesses watching this, because I do know Jehovah's Witnesses watch my channel, I love you very much, and I'm not angry with you because you shun me, because you do believe that shunning is a loving provision from Jehovah. And I left Jehovah's Witnesses because I don't really believe in the governing body. I don't believe those 8 men in New York City are anything special. I don't believe they're God's channel of communication to mankind. I believe that Jesus, like, according to the Bible, I'm an atheist agnostic. Atheist agnostic. I don't believe in any man-made religion. I don't believe in Osiris of the Egyptians. And neither do you. I'm sure a lot of you listening to this video tonight don't believe in Osiris of the Egyptians. Well, he's the resurrection sun god. So you're all atheists if you don't believe in Osiris, the Egyptian sun god. And I know a lot of you don't believe in Mithra, the Roman resurrection sun god who rose on the third day. So you're atheists when it comes to Mithra. And you're atheist, you don't believe in Thor, the god of thunder. You're like I'm a Viking ancestry, Scandinavian Viking, and our god was Thor, the god of thunder. And a lot of you, I'm sure you don't believe in Thor, the god of thunder, so you're an atheist. And you don't believe in the Greek god Zeus, the Roman god Mars. And even Thor, the god of thunder, we name Thursday. Thursday, the day of the week, is named after Thor, the god of thunder. And you've got to believe in Thor, the god of thunder, because we have thunder and lightning. There's proof. Thor, the god of thunder, does exist. And if you don't believe in Thor, you'll be struck by lightning and killed. Because we have evidence Thor is real, thunder and lightning. But you don't believe in Thor, you're atheists. Well, you know. You don't believe in Mithra, the Roman resurrection god, and you don't believe in Osiris. I don't believe that the 8 governing body members in New York City of Jehovah's Witnesses, I don't believe Kenneth Cook, Samuel Hurd, Gerard Lose, David Splain, Mark Sanderson, Jeffrey Jackson, Toni Morrison, Stephen Lett are Christ brothers. I don't believe they are the faithful and discreet slave. Jesus brothers, God's channel to give spiritual food at the proper time to the domestics, the good-for-nothing slaves who do hall cleaning. We use our cars to go out witnessing, spend our money on petrol, going out witnessing. We donate money to Jehovah's Witness organisation to pay for lawsuits against child abuse, lawsuits against hate speech in Belgium. I have a video on the Belgium verdict. Jehovah's Witnesses were fined so much with €96,000, which is about 120,000 Australian dollars for hate speech against people like me who are a shunned ex-Jehovah's Witness because I don't believe in the governing body. I don't believe they're God's channel. Didn't Jesus say, I am the truth, the way and the life? Jesus said, nobody comes to the Father except through me. Where the 8 governing body members in New York City says, we're God's channel of communication, and you don't get your spiritual food from anyone but us 8 dudes in New York City. And if you think differently, we will shun you and we will take away your family and your friends and your community, and you will have no one. Like I have lost all my Jehovah's Witness family and all my Jehovah's Witness friends, but I'm reconnecting to my beautiful worldly family. I have a beautiful father-in-law, my lovely father-in-law, Graham Porter. I'm reconnecting to my father-in-law. I have a brother-in-law, Nigel Porter. I'm reconnecting with him. I have his lovely wife, Nadia Porter, reconnecting with her. And I have Yvonne. I'm reconnecting with my beautiful wife, her sister, and Sylvia and Ryan. They are my family, my worldly family. And I want to apologise for being so distant as a Jehovah's Witness, because we were taught unless your family want to become Jehovah's Witnesses, they're kind of bad association. Because they're not going to help you go out witnessing. They're not going to encourage you to worship Jehovah because they celebrate Christmas. They celebrate birthdays. And they're kind of bad association, so they're not really doing you good spiritually, your worldly family. I want to apologise to my worldly family. And to my Jehovah's Witness family, I know you are shunning me, and I love you very much. And I know that you must shun me, because if you don't shun me, you will be shunned yourself and you will lose your friends and family. But my door is always open to you. I don't want to mention your names because I don't want to get you in trouble. because the elders watch these videos. I know elders watch these videos. I know you elders are watching this. You monitor the apostates. And if we mention anyone's name, if we mention any Jehovah's Witnesses' names, the elders will come calling at the door. Have you been watching any apostate videos? And they will be disfellowshipped and shunned. Now let's go to the Bible. Let's go to mankind's search for everlasting life. Regardless if you like it or not, we all must face the fact that one day we're going to die. We are going to die. Now, what happens at death? I don't know. I have no idea what happens at death. I wouldn't have a clue. I can only speculate. But I could be wrong. I think when we die, we just go to sleep just before we're born. Now, if that is true, we don't have to fear death because you were dead for billions and trillions of years before you were born. You were dead, and you never suffered. You were never lonely. You were never tired. You were never anxious or angry. You never suffered any pain or enjoyed any pleasure for billions of years before you were born. And if that is true, there's no reason to fear death because you've already been dead before for billions of years. You already know what death's like because you've experienced it. And when you die, you will experience that same thing again. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses teach in a resurrection of the dead that only 144,000 men and women go to heaven, and they're going to rule with Jesus over a paradise earth. And the rest of mankind will be resurrected from the dead to live on earth as flesh and blood. And if you accept Jehovah when you're resurrected from the dead and live the way he wants you to live, he won't destroy you again, and you'll be able to live forever and have a pet panda, and a pet tiger, and a pet lion. And that is a beautiful teaching. That is so nice to know. That I would love to see my dead mother again. I would love my dead mother. She died at 30. I'd like to see my sister. She committed suicide at the age of 36. My 30-year-old mother died when I was 1.5 of asthma. My father, at the age of 38, committed suicide. When I was 8 years old, my 38-year-old dad killed himself in 1969. So I would love to see them again. And on the 21st of April, 2021, I'm going to be 60 years old. So I've been thinking about death a lot. I've been really thinking about death, how I don't know what it is. I have no idea what death is. But as I said, if there's nothing after life, that's okay. We've already been dead before. That's the human condition and we must accept it. But man is an intelligent ape, if you believe in evolution. And he's come to the conclusion that, hey, I'm going to die and I can't handle the fact that I'm not going to exist anymore. But there already was a time when you didn't exist, when the Egyptians were eating cornbread and beer, representing the blood and body of Osiris, the resurrection sun god, when the Romans were having bread and wine representing Mithra's body, the Roman resurrection god. We didn't exist. When Jesus was crucified, we didn't exist. But I hope there is something nice. That would be really nice if there was a nice thing after life. Maybe we go into a different dimension. I don't know. I really don't know. But in the Bible it says, let's eat and drink for tomorrow we die. Bad associations spell useful habits. So people who believe that eat, drink, tomorrow we die shouldn't hang around people with that attitude, because you should be knocking on people's doors and preaching Jehovah's Witness doctrine. But, most Christians believe they're going to go to heaven. Most Christians do believe they're going to go to heaven. And so in the Bible, funny enough, in the Bible talks more about hell. This is true. The New Testament, the Bible talks more about hell, hellfire and torment, than it actually talks about heaven. Did you know that? It really does. And there is verses in the Bible like Matthew 5:5. It says the righteous will inherit the earth. Psalm 37, verse 37, Psalm 37. Psalm 37 says, the righteous will inherit the earth and live forever upon it. So there's all these conflicting doctrines, heaven, hell, paradise. Nobody knows. If you're born in an Eastern country, you would believe in reincarnation. Now, let me think. So all I want to say to my beautiful JW family and to my family, my worldly family, I'm sorry that I was so distant to you, and I'm going to reconnect with you, my beautiful father-in-law Graham, and Nigel and Nadia, my worldly family, Sylvia and Ryan. You are my beautiful worldly family, and I'm sorry I was so distant when I was Jehovah's Witness with you. And to my Jehovah's Witness family who are shunning me, I'm not angry you're shunning me. I'm not bitter. My door is always open to you, and I know you're grieving me, like you think I have a spiritual death and I won't be resurrected from the grave. Jehovah's going to snuff me out like a match. And you're shunning me, as my lapel card says, shunned XJW. But the shunning has to stop. The shunning has to stop. It is so cruel to shun somebody because they change their religious belief. I changed my religious belief. I'm not taking drugs. I don't even drink alcohol anymore. Here we are here. That is Coles grape juice. I have nothing against people who drink alcohol, but I don't drink alcohol anymore. I'm looking after my health. I'm going to be 60 soon. So that's the grape juice I'm going to be drinking soon. And these are the Jats crackers, representing the body. So here we go. Representing the body of Osiris, the Egyptian resurrection god, 3,500 years ago. Mithra, the Roman resurrection sun god, 2,500 years ago. And Jesus, the Hebrew resurrection god, representing his body. Here's to life after death. I'm eating the body of Jesus, Osiris, and Mithra. So here's to the Romans, the Egyptians, and the Hebrews. Now here's the blood. Now the Egyptians, 3,500 years ago, would drink beer, representing the blood of Osiris, the resurrection sun god. I'm not too sure what the Romans, look it up what worshippers of Mithra, the Roman resurrection sun god, were drinking. Some alcoholic beverage, could have been wine, could have been beer, because the Romans copied the Egyptians Osiris and they made Mithra, and the Hebrews made Jesus. So this is the blood of Osiris, the blood of Mithra, and the blood of Jesus Christ. Now that is non-alcoholic Coles grape juice. There is no alcohol in that. And come on, wouldn't you rather have a sober apostate or a drunk Jehovah's Witness? So if you had the choice, would you have a sober apostate or a drunk Jehovah's Witness? And as Stephen Lett said, hello, brothers and sisters. We love you very much. Hello, Stephen Lett. Such ones are deluded. See, The Spirit bears witness with our spirit that we are chosen by the Holy Spirit. If we doubt or question if we are not anointed. We are mentally unbalanced. So such ones are mentally unbalanced. So that's it. To my beautiful Jehovah's Witness friends and family who are shunning me, and they're grieving me, and they love me very much, and they don't want to shun me. Do you realise I know you don't want to shun me? I know you don't want to shun me, and you want me to come back to Jehovah's Witnesses so you can talk to me again and we can be friends. But I'm not returning to Jehovah's Witnesses. I will never return, but my door is always open to you. If you want to leave the Jehovah's Witnesses, and you can become a Christian, well, why not just worship Jesus? Like, worship Jesus. I don't mind. I'm an atheist agnostic. Worship Jesus and join another church if you want to. You can still believe in it. But I don't care what you believe in. You can still be my friend. But why do you believe in Kenneth Cook, Samuel Hurd, Gerald Losk, David Splane, Mark Sanderson, Jeffrey Jackson, Toni Morrison, Stephen Lett? They are God's channel of communication to mankind. None of them are Jewish, none of them are Hebrew. It's supposed to be the Israel of God. And when I come to think of the Bible, when you read the Bible, I think it's like you're reading somebody else's mail. The Bible is about war history. And they won a war, God was happy with them. If they lost a war, God was unhappy. The resurrection, hope for the dead. So when you read the Bible, you're reading someone else's mail, and it's not directed at you. But if you want to believe it's directed at you, but it was directed to the Israelites, to the Hebrews. So you're reading other people's mail when you read the Bible. And these are old letters. The Bible's are old letters. But that's what I believe in. But I don't believe that the 8 dudes in New York City are the faithful and discreet slave, God's only channel of communication. And doesn't it say in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, to the writing of many books there is no end. And even in Revelation chapter 22, it says, anyone who adds or subtracts from this prophecy, God will add to the plagues. Why is there so many old literature of Jehovah's Witnesses that have been thrown in the trash can? So many bound volumes, so many old books, get rid of them. The Revelation book of 1988, when I was 27, that red book, the Revelation book, in 1988, we first started studying that in 88 when I was 27. In 2006, when I was 45, they crossed out a lot of the paragraphs and said, oh, don't take notice of that paragraph, don't take notice of that paragraph. Spiritual food at the proper time? New light? Oh no, that's all wrong. Why would God give mankind false information and say, well, that doesn't matter anymore. I have new light, new information. This is the food that you're to eat at the proper time. This is the new light from the governing body that's come from Jesus and Jehovah to the, why would it be, so bye for now. And I think I've said enough, and I love you all very much. Bye now.